Okay, so now the next selector under the combinator selector is the child selector. Now the child selector selects all the elements that are the children of a specified element. For example, now I'm going to go to my VS Code on my browser. I don't want to use the other one. So, like I told you, just to save time. So, for example, now look at this on my left hand side. Look at this element. They have the header child selector, then there is a p element. They say the child selector select all the elements. Now they in a div they have they have two paragraphs in a div. Do you understand? Now still inside that same div there is a section, then inside that section there is a paragraph, then outside the section there is another paragraph, then outside the div itself there are two paragraph elements. Now they want to style the child selector. What it means now is that the one the name, like for example they call the div, they call anyone any p element that is directly inside the div element, like directly inside the div element, style it. That's what child selector does. And they use this example. I think this example is extensive enough, like to even explain what it means. Like check these two elements are inside the div directly. Now there is an element, there's a section element, but inside that section now, that section element contains have its own child, which is a paragraph child inside the section, but it's not a child of this div, it's a grandchild of the div. Do you understand? And now outside this section there is a p element. This p element now is a direct child of div element. So what it means now is that in a family of a man and a woman, they gave birth to 5 children and they want to do something for their children. The thing will just affect only their children. It will have nothing to do with their grandchildren. That's what the child selector does. You understand? That's what child selector does. For example, now, if let me change this div now, but just take for it, look at what I'm doing. I have cleaned that div. I want to write section. Just look at what will happen now, and I will run it. I will view it on my. Can you see that it only applied to the child inside the section? You get it? It did not apply to the ones inside the div. You get? So that's what child selection or child selector. What it does is that it directly affects what is within that particular element you are targeting. I don't know if you understand. So that's child selector. So the next one now is we have the adjacent selector, which, okay, there's something I didn't tell you. The first one I told you about, the descendant, when you want to use it, is spacing. Now, the child selector is by greater than sign. Then they have the adjacent sibling selector. Adjacent sibling selector, you use plus. Now, this one, the adjacent sibling selector is used to select an element that is directly after another specific element. Let me just save video you go. Let's go direct to the browser and try and see what happened here. Now, for example, now look at what they did here. Now, the styling, what the styling, they targeted the div plus, they use plus now, which is adjacent p. Now, let's see which one happened, the paragraph 3. So this is paragraph 3. You understand? What this thing means is that what this thing means is that adjacent means that when you go to div, anywhere you see a div element, after that div element, if you see a p element, style it. Anywhere you see a div element, that the p adjacent to that div, anywhere you see it, style it. For example, you see that the first p element was not styled. The first two p elements, they were not styled because they are not adjacent to any div. You get? In fact, they are the div is even adjacent to the to the first two p elements. You get? So now when we scroll down, you saw that now the same this div now there are two p elements here, like this one element. Like, do you understand? Like the div immediately after the div element, the element immediately after the div element, style it. For example, now like paragraph 1, paragraph 2 by my right here now, then there was a div. After that div comes paragraph 3. You get? Now inside that paragraph 3. Now after that paragraph 3, there's another paragraph, paragraph 4. But that paragraph 4 is not adjacent to the div. So what it means is that when you get to a div, the next element, the next p element you are seeing, style it. Forget about any other p element. Any div you see, the next p element that follows that div immediately, style it. Exactly, that's what happened in this other paragraph 7. So you understand. But I don't normally use this styling, you get. So I don't normally use them. So I just thought to explain it for you so that you become aware of it. Ima Iwata. Subsequently, you now decide which one you want to use. You get. Now there's the final one is now the general sibling this thing. This general, from the word general, it means style everything. And this is the symbol you use. Like you can say, okay, div. In this div, all the p elements, give them a background color of yellow. Let's see what happens. So now when you get to the div, all the div inside the p, can you see there are this thing inside the div, paragraph 3 and paragraph 4. Ogbonnya. Ehen. That general, after the general selector select all elements that are next sibling of a specific element. What it means is that after the div, any element that is p element, select it and style. You understand? That's what general selector does. So that will be all for combinator selector. If you have any question, you ask me. Then we'll check. The next one now is the pseudo class selector. So let me send you this video. Continue.